Welcome everybody to the stable open house, I guess you can say. Breakfast with the horses, since you guys have already had a handful of qualifiers, actually about 22-year-olds qualify, handful of starters. I get to have the honor of working with Jason McGinnis, who gets to sit by most of these, or behind most of these horses, day in and day out. How is your day going?
Busy morning. We worked today, so we jogged every other horse in the barn and stuff, and then started getting these guys ready. And I got the easy part now. Everybody else has the tough task of getting these 17 qualified.
You've had probably about 20-ish qualify. Just your initial reaction so far on how the season is kind of kickstarted.
It's been good so far. We've had a couple winners already. Captain Corey Trotting Filly won, and Uncle Peter Trotting Colt won over at the Meadows. And a lot of them have qualified really well, so it's been a good start to the year.
Cherry's Girl and Uncle Danny were the two winners. Diosa Della Danza raced good the other day, too, and Highest Honors just got gunned down. I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, he raced well.
Yeah, so off to a good start. Maybe just explain to everybody how satisfying it is getting the babies from the sale, breaking them, training them down, figuring out all their quirks, and then now, today, getting to watch them qualify.
It's great to see them qualify and to see them race their first couple starts, and if they're lucky enough to win races or win a stake race, it's pretty nice. We have the next generation coming up at Scioto shortly, and that's always a big weekend for us. We've had a couple winners the last few years. We've had some luck in it, so exciting, and it's nice to see them get to the races.
If there was one underdog so far, maybe, that you didn't know how they would turn out from day one to now, do you think you could pinpoint one or two?
That's a tough question. There's been a couple of the good ones. I think Cherry's Girl, she was a filly that she took a little while to get going, but the last few months just got better and better, and raced super the other day. And the other winner, Uncle Danny, he's been a really nice colt all along, so that wasn't really a big surprise because he seems like a pretty talented colt. Same as Highest Honors, raced great, paced 54-1, I believe, and raced really well. So there's been a couple, Cherry's Girl probably being one of them, that just kept improving and getting better.
And I guess I want to ask you about, I think, is it Jailbird Jog, the really nice horse? I think Anthony used that S-word special.
Yeah, she's in the go at Oak Grove tomorrow, I believe, first leg of the Kentucky Sire Stakes. Really nice filly. I haven't sat behind her a lot, and usually it's Anthony or Amy or Jason Merriman, and so far she looks like a pretty nice horse, and we'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, that's for sure. And it's, I'm not as old as some of the other horsemen in the game, but kind of just go back on, the breaking of the horses. I remember when it was like you had to line drive them for like 5 or 6 days, and then maybe third line them for like 5 or 6 more days. Now it's like you throw the harness on them, you line drive them one day, and you stick the cart on them and go. Like the breed has just changed so much.
We go cart first day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Anthony and Jason Merriman breaks a lot of the horses. A lot of help from former employee Joey Cramp. He'd help Jason out a lot and go do a third line, but we hook them first day and go.
How long did it take, or does it usually take, to maybe gate them up?
Depends on the horse. Pacers, you get the odd pacer, takes a little bit of time.
Yeah.
I just think with the breed, I feel old now. But just from even when I was younger, the breed's improved so much that they're just so natural nowadays. You rarely have a problem.
Yeah, we had a 2-year-old colt that we bought from London, and he didn't do anything but pace. I was like, this is either going to be really good or really bad from the get-go. But yeah, the breed is just, not only the speed and the looks of the horses, just the way they act.
Yeah, the horses that come out of the sales from Lexington and Harrisburg, they've been on the walkers and stuff at the farms.
Yeah.
They're essentially kind of half broke. I think that's why they're easy to just snap in the cart and go. They've been around people so much and handled so well that you can just go ahead and go.
And speaking of getting them from the sale, you guys actually had a couple homebreds this year, so that had to be exciting, developing their mothers, and then now you get to see their offsprings.
Yeah, again, I'm getting old, so you get to see train their mothers, and we've had a few of them, and this year we had a few, and I think in the next couple of years there's a lot more coming down the pike. I think Anthony's broodmare band is growing. So it's kind of neat to see some of the horses you looked after, to see their foals, and kind of see, do they have the same tendencies or act the same. So it's fun.
Now, lots of first crop sires this year. What has been, obviously Captain Corey, he was a beautiful individual himself, and it's, coming from the pacing breeding, but his offsprings have been nothing short of sensational. In my opinion, everything I've seen has gone forward and looked very nice on the track.
Yeah, they look like they're turning out well so far. At the Meadowlands, I've seen some qualify in that briefly, and yeah, he looks like an exciting addition to the trotting ranks for sure.
Yeah, it's I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing them all, meet up together. Ready for Money is in the state of Ohio. He had a nice career too. I've heard a lot of good things about them.
We have a couple Ready for Money fillies this morning going, 2 qualifying, Judy's Money and Jolene Hall. I like the pair of them. I really like Judy's Money. She's a big, strong filly, and she's kind of been a nice filly all along, so we'll get a look at her in the 5th qualifier today.
Yeah, lots of good things said about Ready for Money, and I think, do you guys have a propulsion 2-year-old too?
We have a propulsion. He's up in Canada.
Okay.
He qualified yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard good things about them. The propulsion brother to Carl actually qualified Friday morning at the Meadowlands.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he finished up his mile nicely. So it was nice to see that as well. Anybody you're looking forward to today, or maybe one that you're coming into today, maybe with a question mark, not knowing, from the get-go, lots of, I'm an avid Anthony video watcher, so I feel like I know these horses inside and out, but I know they've had some troubles with Rose Run Bobby being maybe a little bit hot and stuff like that. So is there somebody you're looking forward to just kind of see how they act today?
Once we're very lucky. We have a great set of trainers and riders there helping out, and once we get to kind of certain speeds, we all kind of, for the most part, a lot of times go with the same horses.
Right.
So you're kind of, I go with Judy's Money a lot, and a colt that I really like today is Emerald Tom. I trained him a lot, and I really like him, and I'm interested to see what he does.
That's a brother. It is Lauren
Harmon's Emerald Chip.
Yeah, okay,
yes.
I thought so. I was paying attention to that as well. So just really looking forward to seeing what takes place this morning. I was going to ask you another question, and it just totally slipped my mind. But that's live TV for you.
Okay.
So I guess we're going to get ready to start here, right?
Yeah, we're getting ready to roll 7 qualifiers.
Yes.
There are no stable horses in the first 2 qualifiers, so but I guess we're going to watch them. Are we showing those?
I'm not sure. And maybe if Curtis could talk in my ear. Okay, we're watching them. Or Curtis
so we're going to watch the
ear.
first couple qualifiers. We're not in. We're in qualifiers 3, 4, 5, and 7.
Yes, plenty of qualifiers to take a look at. It's a bit warm out there today.
Yeah, it's hot. It looks like a hot week, but I hate the cold, so I'll take it. It was a miserable winter and spring, so.
That's a good point, too, because I feel like we didn't really get, at least on the East Coast, I'm not quite 100% sure how it was here, but we didn't really get a warm spring. It was like a cool spring. So now we've got this hot weather. I feel like the horses have been not adjusting to it well, tying up, the blood's being a little,
a lot of tie-ups, yeah.
So have you guys had a little bit of trouble with that?
We have, and when it gets this hot this quick, I think that's the big problem. And we raced a filly in 2 weeks ago at Scioto. She won in 54-1, Aunt Lily, a trotting filly, and then raced back in the Buckeye the other day, and she was favorite. And was on the front end and faltered and trotted 57.
Yeah.
She tied up a little bit in the heat. So
it was muggy there then.
When it gets that hot that fast, some of the fillies I find more than the colts. They'll struggle a little bit.
Yeah, because they get to a horse in a little bit too.
Yeah.
I know I was at Croswell when Dune raced. We had a filly in with her. It was very hot, and I was not surprised. Our fillies were going nuts. First time off the farm in a fair atmosphere, small barns. There was goats behind us. We were right in a row with Donnie. Small roofs, and I was like, oh God, I hope this goes well, because they're gonna either horse tie up, but it was all right. Now I remember the question. Amy is gonna make her qualifying driving debut. How fun is that? I feel like it's kind of been fun to watch her develop, I guess, even more over the course of the last couple of years, and she's gonna get a chance to sit behind a couple of them today. Yeah,
she's got. I think she's in every qualifier of ours. She's got 4 drives today.
She's got Aunt Sarah.
Perfection Hanover,
Rico Tubbs,
Pretty Eyes and Lies.
Didn't she like Pretty Eyes and Lies' mom a lot?
Yeah, she was a big fan of her mother, and so she's going to get to go with her today. So that's why you talk about looking after the horses and having the foals, and she goes with her a lot, and because she really liked her mother. So yeah, I think she's excited. She was back there and had her suit on. She was moving the stirrups. She's in my race bike, so be safe. And I think she's excited.
I think that's awesome. It's you watch her kind of go with you guys every day, and even on all the live videos too. and now she gets a chance to show the guys what she's really made of.
Yeah.
It's exciting. But I think they're coming out onto the track for the first qualifier if I look over at that TV. So I believe Michael Carter will have our calls all morning long. So we'll send it over to him as they're on the track for qualifier 1.
Thanks so much, Jess. The field is on the racetrack for the first race. Here's our drivers for the first race. Daddy Wags will be driven by Chris Lems. Helping Is the Way will be driven by Tyler Agus. John Wenger drives the 3. Conway Twitter Wine Chaser is the 4 with Cody Massey. Justin Height drives the 5 Pink Panther, and the 6 Purple Warrior will be driven by Braden Rhodes. It's the first of 7 qualifiers here this morning, highlighted by the babies who will start qualifying in race number 3 for TheStable.ca, and a few other trainers as well throughout the program. Scotty Cox has a few horses in on the program as well. This first qualifier, a field of 6. Daddy Wags has been racing against the 30-claimer non-winners of 7. Does have a victory on the year for trainer Whitney Johnson. 2 Helping Is the Way, trained by Renee Loney. He's coming off a second-place effort. Last race on May the 7th. He's going to try to come back off of a short layoff here this morning. There's the 4 Wine Chaser. It's a Pennsylvania-bred 3-year-old gelding by Cantab Hall. It's the first start of 2025. Did have a win as a 2-year-old. For trainer Bob Krenitsky Jr. The 5 Pink Panther. It's a 3-year-old gelding by Marseille. Made a break in his last start here at MGM Northfield Park. That was from post 3 against 22 5-claimers. It's going to come back here this morning. That was a $12,000 Buckeye purchase. It's 2 wins in 6 starts this season. Starter Gary Locke calls in the trotters to the gate. It is post time, and the starting gate is rolling. Six trotters lined up for the first qualifier, first of 7. On this Sunday morning from MGM Northfield Park. Could ask for a better day. It's warm outside. Sun is out, and we are ready to rock. Racing over a fast track here this morning. Here they come. And they're off, and they are trotting. Conway Twitter and Purple Warrior get the first call down the center of the racetrack. Wine Chaser and Pink Panther away well. Making a break there was Daddy Wags. Daddy Wags made a break in stride and left the course. Helping Is the Way is last and trailing as they move into the backstretch. Conway Twitter is up a length and a quarter. Purple Warrior is going to tighten down in the pocket for Rhodes in second. It's a length and a half further back to Wine Chaser in third. Down at the inside, Pink Panther is fourth. Then it's a gap of about 7 to an off-stride Daddy Wags, and on the outside of that one is Helping Is the Way. Opening quarter was 30 1/5 seconds. Into the far turn they go for the first time. Conway Twitter up top by a length and a half over Purple Warrior, who's in second. It's a gap of 3 back to Wine Chaser in third. Pink Panther is fourth at this point. Then comes Helping Is the Way, and Daddy Wags finally back on the trotting gate. By the stands they come for the first time. Conway Twitter is the front stepper, leading by a length and a quarter over Purple Warrior, who's tight in second. Half top of the board, 1 minute, 4/5 seconds. Wine Chaser is third with about 8 to make up. Then at the inside is Pink Panther from in fourth. Helping Is the Way is next, and Daddy Wags is back on the trotting gate as they head into the clubhouse turn. Final time, 3/8 of a mile left to go. Conway Twitter, the leader, by a length and a half. It is starting to edge clear from Purple Warrior in second. It's a gap of 4 back to Wine Chaser in third, 2 clear of Pink Panther as they head to 3/4. Conway Twitter is up by 3. 3/4 on the board, 1:30 and 1. Back out of the far turn. Conway Twitter is on top. The lead is 4 lengths. Down at the inside, Purple Warrior is second. Then on the outside, Pink Panther trying to go up and around Wine Chaser, but it's Conway Twitters, a 6th-length leader with a 16th of a mile left to go, and they turn for home. Conway Twitters up by 7 lengths under minimal urging here from John G. Wangard. It is Conway Twitter straight and strong to the line. Pink Panther was second, Wine Chaser was third, Purple Warrior was fourth in 2 minutes. 4/5, Conway Twitter. The 5-year-old gelding by Conway Hall wins the qualifier here this morning.
Mike's back up. Okay, qualifier number 1 is out of the way, I guess you could say. Those are older horses there getting some good lines under their belt. We were just kind of talking. We don't usually see qualifiers on Sundays. They're on Thursdays. But it does break up the week a bit for them.
Yeah, I talked to Scotty Cox. He brought, I think, 4 this morning, and he said it'll just kind of break up his week a little bit instead of... I like the Thursday qualifiers at 11 because we're stabled here.
Right.
But for people at the farm, you got to try to get your work done and then leave and get here. So it gets busy. So a Sunday kind of helps some people out.
And it's busy for some of the drivers that drive for stakes barns, because you got Scioto Monday, Delaware Tuesday, or the Meadows, they qualify Tuesday, here Thursday, so they're up and down the road. It's not like it's just a hop, skip, and a jump over or down
and even
to Columbus.
with the Thursday 11 a.m. qualifying time, if you're at the Meadows, you can't stay.
Right.
They start at 12:45, so it makes it tough.
Yeah, it definitely makes it worth their time, makes it worth their money. Lots of horses that we've seen you guys have success with over the course of the last couple of years that are staked to some nice stake races. Are you a part of that conversation with Anthony and the owners? Like, where maybe what you think? Like, how much input does he take from you?
Depends on the day. Depends on our moods. But, we generally have the same idea. I've known Anthony a long time. He used to drive when I had just my own stable and stuff. So we think a lot alike in a lot of different situations. So when it comes to the staking and stuff, he's generally got a pretty good idea. You get to watch them train and stuff, and not get too excited on some of them because it can be very expensive to stake them. So you get carried away, and all of a sudden you got a big staking bill. But I think generally he's got a pretty good eye on it. I
do want to talk about a couple of horses. I feel like this year you guys had a lot, or a handful, I guess I could say, of horses that had some very popular siblings. Aunt Sarah, a sister to Tennessee Tom, he's closing in on $1 million lifetime. Ron Burke had him. This is an Uncle Peter sister. He was a long Tom, and she's been coming along nicely.
Yeah, she's a nice filly. She's definitely had a lot of nice days. Little, I wouldn't say on the small side, but probably medium at best. I think Tennessee Tom was a little bit bigger, but she's a filly. She's been growing. Different. He's a long Tom. She's an Uncle Peter. A lot of people don't like the Uncle Peters. We seem to have really good luck with them and don't mind them at all. We've had a lot of success with them, so hopefully she's another one.
Yeah, I was going to say that you guys had some good success with the Uncle Peters. On the smaller side, it's not always a terrible thing either, because you do race on half-mile tracks. You got here, then you have Delaware, and then, of course, if they don't necessarily make it to the Buckeye type of things, you can always run over to a fair and race them and get them some experience. So necessarily not always terrible to be a little bit on the smaller side at least, because there's still room for them to grow.
For sure. Like the finals were here last year at Northfield, so it definitely it helps you, and it helps us, I think, being stabled here, being able to get over to the half. We just got to get more into the finals. So being stabled on a half-mile track, lots of equipment. Some people don't always love training on a half-mile track, but then you got to move to either Scioto, Dayton, Miami Valley. How much change, like equipment-wise or stuff like that, is it when you take them from this half-mile to a bigger track? Like, I know you qualify a lot at the Meadows. You got some going out east and stuff like that. I find with this track, like, this is one of the best half-mile tracks around. It always has been. So I don't find a lot of huge change. Just little things. I mentioned Aunt Lily before. She'll wear, like, a gating pole here on the inside. I don't wear it on her at Scioto or when I race at Miami Valley. She doesn't need it there around the bigger turn. But for the most part, not a lot of changes. Maybe here or there you can take a Murphy blind off or something, the inside maybe. But for the most part, if they get around here, then, well, they're going to get around there pretty good too.
I know Anthony's a big shoeing guy, and I've actually learned quite a lot from watching his videos. Maybe something that wasn't my strong suit. Maybe just touch on, how important it is. No foot, no horse. That's what I was always taught. So that plays a big role into it.
Absolutely. The last couple of years, we've started off wearing a lot of flip-flops. A lot of flip-flops all winter, and then when we get looking for a little more speed, or if they get interfering a little much as they go faster, we'll switch it out and move to a trotting shoe, or in the case of a pacer, just put a full swedge. But a lot of flip-flops the last few years, trying to save their feet, and it's tough over the winter here. They can look after the track all they want, but it's cold days, and it's hard. So having the flip-flops on, and then taking them off as we get closer to going, I think it's helped a lot of them. Yeah,
you can only work with Mother Nature so much, especially in Northeast Ohio. One horse I want to ask you about before they head to the gate for qualifier number 2, Perfection Hanover. This is a brother to Pappy Rob Hanover. I loved Pappy Rob. I thought he was so eye-catching on the track. So unfortunate for Mr. McDuffie that he had to cut his career and his 3-year-old season short because the best was yet to come from him.
I think so. He was a great horse and maybe getting better. So it's funny the battles he had with Tall Dark Strangers. So this is a Tall Dark Stranger brother to Pappy Rob Hanover, and they had some great races. They really did.
Oh, the Meadowlands Pace.
The Meadowlands Pace, North America Cup, just two great horses. So pretty interesting seeing a brother out of Tall Dark Stranger here. I've seen there's been some Tall Dark Strangers this year pop up already, 2-year-olds.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because they kind of dismissed him maybe a little bit in his first crop, and I know people kind of compared him or maybe lateral moved him with Bettor's Delight. His first crop wasn't the greatest. They come back and look what he's done to the sport.
Yeah, one of the greatest.
But a lot of 3-year-old Tall Dark Strangers that have qualified are actually continuing to take a step forward.
For sure. I think, it's tough to write them off after first crop. I think your expectations are too high sometimes. He was a great horse.
Look at Green Shoe.
Absolutely. So, maybe he needs a year or two to get rolling. And they definitely, I think, sold cheaper last year of the sales. Yeah. So this is a case where if he was a big hit as a sire, then this horse probably wouldn't be in our barn. I
was maybe, aside from Nancy Tachter, the biggest Kissing in the Sand fan. So when I saw that you guys had bought the Tall Dark Stranger colt out of Kissing in the Sand, I was excited. He qualified, I think, a couple weeks ago, and then I think he made a break this week. But
yeah, he's up in Canada.
He caught my eye at the sale, and I'm very much looking forward to his season because that's like royal breeding.
Yeah, he can't get much better than that.
All right, qualifier number 2, we'll head to the gates, and then we'll be back with qualifier number 3. That's where the stable gets underway.
All right, race number 2, getting ready to go to the gate. Justin Haight drives 1, King of the USA. Magic by the Sea is the 2 for Chris Lems. Better Be Swift for Braden Rhodes, Southwood Cocktail, Cody Bassey, and Shuffles, Cool Legacy, and John Wangard. That's how they'll line up for the second qualifier. Starter Gary Locke summons the Pacers to the gate, and the starting gate is rolling. Lots of moving parts to put the show on here this morning. We'd like to thank our racing officials who are here today to help put this product on. We'd like to thank TheStable.ca for allowing MGM Northfield Park to host their program here this morning. I'd like to thank those of you who are on track enjoying breakfast in the clubhouse for joining us here to watch the Stars of Tomorrow as they get ready to come up in race number 3. Picking up speed, here they come. And they are off, and they are pacing. Magic by the Sea, first away for Lems. Here comes Southwind Cocktail on the outside with King of the USA in third. A length and a quarter in front of Better Be Swift. And it's a gap of 4 back to Shuffles, Cool Legacy. As they move into the backstretch, Magic by the Sea is a 1.5 length leader as they move into the backstretch. Southwind Cocktail is in the pocket second. 3 back to King of the USA third. Quarter time 28-2. Then at the inside is Better Be Swift. That one is 7 clear of Shuffle's Cool Legacy as they head into the far turn first time. And up top on the lead is Magic by the Sea. Up by 2 lengths here. Southwind Cocktail is in second. Racing in third is King of the USA. From there is Better Be Swift in fourth. Those 4 have broken away from the trailer by about 12 lengths as they come down here to the half. Magic by the Sea. 4-year-old gelding by Down by the Seaside gets to the half at 58-1. Southwind Cocktail, 5-year-old mare by Betting Line, is the second. Betting Line, a champion of the Carl Milstein Memorial. King of the USA is third. 3-year-old by Down by the Seaside. We come back to Better Be Swift. The 8-year-old by Better's Delight is fourth, now third and rolling on the outside. And the trailer at the back is Shuffle's Cool Legacy, the 3-year-old. As they head to 3/4, it is Magic by the Sea, who is there at 126-4. Up outside of rivals is Southwind Cocktail. Down towards the inside, King of the USA as they bunch up. Better Be Swift is outside racing in third. They've got a little bit more than 1/8 of a mile left to come. Magic by the Sea is a 1-length leader turning for home. Southwind Cocktail in between horses is second. Here comes Better Be Swift, third up on the outside, 3 deep into the track. Magic by the Sea with the lead with Southwind Cocktail. Magic by the Sea. Southwind Cocktail, Better Be Swift, and King of the USA. 155-3. Big mile here by Magic by the Sea.
interesting. That's why I popped that on.
Alrighty. Qualifier number 2 is in the books. Nice mile there. A nice 55 and change effort for a couple of, were those overnight horses? Or was it 2-year-olds? Overnight horses. 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds. Mixed bunch there, but a nice effort nonetheless. 55 and change. We're going to get a chance to look at the stable horses in qualifier number 3. We have Supermind, Emerald Tom, Aunt Sarah, and Head to Know. What's been your take on the Marseilles? Because I know Marseille was a beautiful animal.
We had a colt last year. He was a very likable little colt, and he just had a lot of trouble with his knees, and we couldn't really keep him sound. We raced him in the next generation. I think he might have been 5th, and we just really we gave him the winter off, brought him back, and he just kind of struggled. But he was a really nice colt and wanted to do his work, so we moved on from him. Back this year with another one, Had to Know. Nice, big, good-looking horse. He's double the size of the colt we had last year. I like this colt. You know, his feet have bothered him a little bit. He had a quarter crack issue, but he's a nice colt, and I really like him.
That's a good segue into what I was going to ask next. You know, you guys have been fortunate. I think every horse that you've put on the track is qualified, but that's not always the case for some of these 2-year-olds. Like, I feel like sometimes the public doesn't quite understand. Like, you get them from the sale, you break them, you jog them, you put the miles into them, you know, you train them down, and then you're asking them to race. Like, they never really get a break. Sometimes it works out in their schedule. They can go in the field for, you know, a week or two, but sometimes they don't reach their full potential until they're 3, and I think that that's important for the public to know.
Yeah, some horses, they'll just come back at better at 3, whether it's the way they like to race, or the way, I find it with the breeding sometimes even, but some of them are ready to go right from the start. And well, a good example, I guess, Time Is on My Side and Captain Incredible. Yeah, for sure, definitely. You know, Captain Incredible last year, he took a little while to get going. They kind of protected him, took him to Lexington. He showed some speed, shut him down early, and brought him back, you know, pretty carefully this year. And he's raced super so far to start his year off. And Time Is on My Side. He was a lightly raced colt, and then at 3 he was a very nice horse, and still racing good at 4. Yeah, he was in the graduate last night. I don't think he got a check, but he did make the final, so that's good. That'll happen in a couple of weeks. I think he's actually might be slated to race in the Dave Brower Memorial on Saturday. I think he's eligible to that. Laura Brower was telling me all about that last night. She owns a percentage of him as well, so that's always fun to see. I think that's pretty cool. You know, obviously her brother had a lot to do with the sport, and she didn't really have a whole lot to do with it, and then that's kind of how she carries on his legacy, is buying into all these babies. Right. I got to meet her in person last year. We went out for the Breeders' Crown there. I raced Memento Mori and stuff, and she came out to the farm and got to see him and everything. And she jumped right in and got some shares, and she loves it. Yeah, she does, and it just literally goes off of the slogan, "Own a little, love it a lot." Exactly. And I think that's a great slogan just for the entire sport. No matter how many parts or pieces you own, it's always a fun to go out to the track and cheer on your horse. All right, so qualifier number 3, Supermind. This is a son of creatine. I don't know a whole lot about creatine. I do know that Jujubee was a creatine, and that's about it. We've had a couple fillies that were okay. We haven't had that many of them, but the ones we've had I kind of liked, and we've had a little bit of luck with them. This is a nice colt here, and I think Justin will get along with them fine. How many times have they been behind the gate? I know they're going to go maybe a little further behind the gate today, but I know you guys do some gate schooling. Yeah, we schooled them all there. We did a video session behind the gate the one day and went with a bunch of them, and they've all been behind the gate at least once. A couple of them have been twice. And were they pretty good about it? I feel like, again, this is another thing to piggyback off of the breeding. It's like... Right. I think we had 1 or 2 maybe shy from the gate a little bit. I had one. He kind of didn't like seeing the starter in the car, but he was fine behind the gate. For the most part, there's very rarely do you get one that goes up behind the car and shies away nowadays. And sometimes that's the turning point for them. They see the starting car and it's like, oh, this is my job. I think Scott McEnany said that about Bettor's Delight. Like, once he saw the starting gate, they get to know it's like, okay, time to work. Time to work. And that's exactly what they're going to do here in qualifier number 3. Mike Carter has the call.
Thanks so much, Jess and Jason. The field of trotters for the 2-year-old baby race behind the starting gate. They touched on a lot of the stable horses. We'll talk about the 2-7 Lick Image, a $14,000 Buckeye Classic yearling purchase, the half-sister to 7 Lick Precy made over $149,000 and had some success in Ohio. Second dam is Lady Bella. 6, Betsy Ann. Dan produced 17-time winner Uncle Andy. Made over $152,000. Second dam produced Wyatt and Tootie. Tootie made $276,000. Wyatt made $332,000. Regally Bred Group lined up for the third race. Here they come. And they're off. They are trotting. Down at the inside, Super Mind gets the first call with Aunt Sarah on the outside. For Amy McDonald, Had to Know is 4 deep into the track with 7 Lick Image in between horses as they fan out into the first turn. Emerald Tom came away racing in 5th. 6 down towards the inside as they move into the backstretch is Betsy Ann, but it is Super Mind who's up here by a length at a quarter. The son of Creatine. Trotting well on the front end. The dam Change Your Mind by Donato Hanover. It's a dam of 2 winners, including Mindful Amos and Jersey Janet. They're at the opening quarter in 31. Head 4/5 seconds into the far turn. They go. Down at the inside in second is 7 Lick Image, the $14,000 Buckeye Classic yearling purchase. Then at the inside in a third as they come by the stands for the first time is Aunt Sarah. That's a daughter of Uncle Peter. And the first dam, Missive, produced champion Tennessee Tom, who made over $900,000 thus far in his career. So they're at the half at 103-1. Into the clubhouse turn they go. Down at the inside, racing in 4th, about 7 off the lead, is Had to Know. That's a $15,000 Ohio selected yearling purchase is out of Marseille. As they move into the backstretch, Super Mind still the leader. The lead is a length and a quarter as they're at 3/4 at 132-4, and the sprint is on. Super Mind and Justin Irvine lead here by a length and a half. 7 Lick Image is in the pocket, racing at second, just jumped off stride. 7 Lick Image just jumped it off. At the inside in second now is Aunt Sarah. Moving up outside of rivals is Had to Know. That one's a little bit rough gated there for Amy. As they come through the stretch, it is Super Mind on top by 3 lengths. Super Mind with the lead. Super Mind to win it. Finishing second was Aunt Sarah. Amy was able to hold Had to Know together in third. That's actually Anthony, not Amy. And on the outside was Tyler Angus and Emerald Tom. Final time, 2:02 at 2/5. For the winner, Super Mind. The Colt by Creatine. We will have a break now following this third qualifier. Again, we will have a break following this third qualifier. Super Mind, 2-year-old colt, staked to the Ohio Sire Stakes, the Buckeye Stallion Series, the Ohio State Fair, and some Ohio sired events as a 3-year-old. Jess and Jason, some very talented horses in that third qualifier.
2:02-2 effort by Super Mind right on the front end. I guess just your initial thoughts. I thought he looked good.
Yeah, he's a nice colt. I've trained him a fair bit too. I like him. He's just got a little bit better. He got a little warm there in the summertime, or in the spring, sorry. And we had to put a snake cord in that on him, but he does work really good today. I thought he looked very good.
You know, what I always like to watch, sometimes we get so excited to see the 2-year-olds on the track. It's kind of, you want to see them go fast. But at the same time, you have to educate them. It's a long season. So I always like to see when the driver, the body language of the driver when they're going through the wire. Maybe a couple of whip taps just to keep their, their mind to task. Like you said, sometimes he can get in between his ears a little bit in his brain.
Yeah, you're not necessarily, you watch these guys qualify, and they're not necessarily chasing the horse.
Right.
If the horse is tired, you're just kind of like, they're young, they're babies still, and you're kind of like, hey, we're still working here, pay attention.
Right.
And then keep them on task.
I like to see too, you know, when you pull them off of a helmet, to teach them to accelerate without showing them the whip, because then you don't want them to get, you know, sour and stuff like that. To win, you don't want to use all the tools early on. I think Ron Burke alluded to that after Lou Prince elimination. You know, Ronnie never popped the plugs, but you can only pop the plugs so many times before they kind of almost get used to it. And you saw that in the final where, you know, he had to get after him and pop the plugs, but then he went forward.
There was no getting caught sleeping in the final. He thought he had the best horse, and I thought he gave a great drive, and the horse responded. He raced super, that horse. That was a great race.
That was very exciting. I think everybody was cheering. I don't think there was a dry eye after that race. Aunt Sarah in that effort. I guess she is a little thing. She's not very big.
No, she's not. Emerald Tom, Tyler closed up well with him too. Once he got him into gear, he looked good. I thought everybody looked good in there.
And Had to Know closed with Emerald Tom there late in the mile. So all good efforts, no mistakes, good learning. They're all going to go for. Are they going to get another qualifier under their belt?
It depends, because we'll have to see when the first Buckeye or the first Sire stake is, and it's tough. One, I guess, downfall of being here with this many horses, even between here in the Meadows and Scioto, there's only so many classes.
Right.
There's only so many places to race the horses. So you're trying to get the 2-year-olds in to go best you can, but differently, but fortunately most of them are pretty professional.
Yeah, that is nice. Like you said, kind of a downfall of being here, because you're here. When they gate school, you're just in the barn. You go to the gate and you come back,
so
and then,
which is great.
Yeah.
But the first time you take them to Scioto, they might not ship the greatest, and then you get into the tie-up and stuff, which we touched on earlier, and little different curveballs thrown your way. You got to be ready for.
Yeah, we can just kind of allude to Dune. She trained down in Ontario, but I mean, she did ship to Mohawk a couple of times, but it's a whole different atmosphere when you go to the fair.
I think expectations were high the other day, and she got beat, but she went from qualifying at Mohawk to a fair track in Michigan.
And let me tell you, there was no tripping out a horse, and the track was not good at all.
I've been to Croswell before years ago, but
when it was good, they used to have good stake races for the 4-year-olds.
Yeah, me and my brother were talking about it at dinner the other night. I think we went for like 50 or 75,000 or something silly. Yeah, we raced a horse in it.
Yeah,
and but to go from Woodbine Mohawk Park to any fair track. Big difference.
Well, yeah, the filly that my dad had, she never run, and she
stable. She was
doubled
here
up
all
in
winter,
the turn, and you just
it's
tighten up those hobbles and pull the head up another hole.
It's a different ball game. And as far as Dune, I'm sure Riley Harmon will have her ready to go next week.
Oh yeah, exactly. Riley will have her ready to go. Yes, that's funny. But so you just never know how they're going to be. I had a very prominent trainer say, sometimes, first starts don't matter. It's a learning experience. You kind of have to keep going.
That's why the ones we've been kind of really trying to get in to go are our next generation horses.
Diosa Della Danza. We've
Uncle
seen
Danny, Highest Honors. They're 3 of the 4. We're sending the next generation. So to get that start or 2 under their belt is pretty important.
Diosa Della Danza. We know that she's obviously got a fast family. I've actually taken care of her mom, Queen M, a couple of times for Mike Roth when he was racing her in the Sire Stakes. So.
Yeah, she's she's the half sister to the fastest 2-year-old of all time, sipping on Sea Rock. So the pedigree's there. She's fast, but we'll find out. She's back in to go Wednesday at the Meadows, and that'll be her last tune-up before the next generation.
Yeah, and I thought, Anthony took her to the back last week. raced her a couple days ago and raced her on the end of it. You really couldn't ask for a better start.
She's an example of a horse, just what we were talking about, different tracks, different situations. She trained here all winter. Jason Merriman and Tyler Angus went with her a lot.
Yeah.
And she kind of sees stuff. She wears a shadow roll. She wears a fly screen.
Yeah.
If it's a dancing
I was
Yankee, you'll
gonna
probably
say,
wear a
isn't
shadow
that the
roll.
dancing
Oh my
Yankee
God.
out of them? Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah.
You buy one in the sale. Here's your free shadow roll.
Yeah. Buy one, get one shadow roll.
But she was never hot, warm.
Right.
And in the qualifier, she was hot.
Yes.
She was warm.
Yeah.
So he wanted to be, kind of cautious the other day with her, and she closed up well, paced a big back half. So we'll see what she has Wednesday, and then hopefully on next gen day she's putting it all together.
There's something I always like to see too when I see on the East Coast they qualify their babies 2, sometimes 3 times, just because there isn't a whole lot of prep races for the stake races. Sometimes you can catch a 2-year-old race here and there, but the versatility and the mannerism worked into some of these younger horses. Like, you don't want to teach them to leave the gate every start, because then sometimes they're just unmanageable, but you also don't want to get them too lazy off of the gate. So I feel like that's always something important. I always like seeing like one off the pace effort, maybe one speed effort worked into them.
Right, you kind of want a little happy medium. You want to be able to get off the gate if you so choose, if the driver chooses, and next generation day Anthony will probably be getting off the gate. But
Anthony off the gate?
Yeah, I know. It's hard to believe, but you don't want them. You want the option. If we draw 7, 8, 9 or something bad, okay, we can take them back. So, and that goes back to the schooling here. Like when we schooled that day, everybody did a great job.
Yeah.
And, we're fortunate. We got guys coming to help out and stuff. Justin came and went with a bunch. Chris Lems is always helping us out, and
shoeing adjustment.
Yeah,
is that
we're doing
what
a
it
little
is? Shoeing adjustment here.
shoeing.
Anthony's got his shoeing hat on.
Yeah,
I guess
so I guess we got a little delay here for the shoeing.
I think there's
but that was
break
the first
too.
break anyway.
Yeah.
So.
It's never fun when they throw a shoe.
No.
Definitely not fun when they throw a shoe.
I'm gonna guess that is.
It was a 6.
Either Jolene Hall or Rico Tubbs.
All right.
But yeah, a little break here, letting the ones in the 7th warm up.
Now, do you guys turn them and go a good mile with them, or does it depend on the horse? Like, I'll probably be talking out of context here, but like a horse like Rose Run Bobby, I don't know how she's been, but obviously we've seen her get hot. It's not maybe a horse you want to stir up too much when warming up.
He'll usually probably go a mile with her, but try to keep her nice and quiet and relaxed. But just you almost want to take a little bit of the edge off, but not let her get wound up. You got to kind of find a
line.
Yeah, and with Bobby, that fine line is very fine.
Just very thin.
Talented filly, and the day she finally puts it all together, I think she's going to be a pretty nice horse. But she's just got to keep things upstairs.
Right, between the ears.
Yes,
they have to
100%.
focus between
100%.
the ears. And you usually find that, with the filly trotters, or trotters in general, they can have a lot of speed, tools, and ability, but they just really got to mind what's in between the ears. I think a horse that comes to mind is a Motocon Legacy, where Louis, after the Good Times elimination, he said, last year I didn't know what I was going to get until the gate folded. He was either going to be hot or quiet, and this year the mature in his brain has just really helped him. Yannick said the same thing about a horse by the name of Hidalgo. So it's not only, physical maturity sometimes going from 2 to 3, it's mental. Right,
yeah, and the Motocon Legacy's been unbelievable so far this year and stuff, and it's a lot, it's a lot. You don't know, you can kind of have an idea of what they're going to do the first time behind the gate, but you don't really know.
No, you don't really. There's just a lot that goes obviously into it, and I think that also piggybacks off of, we ask a lot from these 2-year-olds.
Absolutely.
And I think something that maybe the whole industry should work on is less 2-year-old stake races and more 4-year-old stake races.
It's tough, and a race that we've won a couple times. We won the 2-year-old filly division trotters of the next gen, and it's a great race. It's a great concept, and it's early. It's early, and that's it's a lot to ask sometimes to go that kind of race that hard. And if you're going for 150,000 and put up 10,000 a race in it, you're going to race your horse.
Right.
So sometimes it's the races can be a little earlier that, or maybe too many races, but you try and pick your spots.
Right, like I can't think of the filly's name, but the filly that you guys have going to the medal, East Coast, the Perfect Sting filly.
Perfect
she qualified
Thought.
like a monster the other day at the Meadows in the rain. But there's so many options, but they're all crammed into July, and that first week out you got the New Jersey Sire Stakes, and there's a third leg this year for the 2-year-olds. You have the Kindergarten, where sometimes you may want to grab an extra couple of points. Then you have the New Jersey Classic, and then it all leads in, so you never know what route you're going to want to take. Obviously, you can have a couple of different ones. There's just so much right there.
Right.
And
that's another thing, goes back to the staking too, with the different jurisdictions. New Jersey, you can only race at one track, you race at the Meadowlands. So at least they're not kind of overlapping.
Right.
Where here, maybe if fair's close to a Buckeye or something, and then in Ohio, you got to kind of play the game. Well, do we go Buckeye? Do we go Sire Stakes? And,
kind of see where you can pick up some points, because you can make the final of one and consolation of another or something along the lines of that. Right,
you can race in the consolation of the Sire Stakes for $100,000, I believe, and you can still race in the Buckeye Final.
Right.
So that's a pretty good little chunk of change. We had Gorgeous Package last year, was third in the consolation of the Sire Stakes, and then won the Buckeye Final out here at Northfield. So she picked up some good money doing that. I think this year they made it a little trickier, though. You have to race in 2 Sire Stake legs, so just another extra wrinkle.
All right. In my ear, I have Curtis McDonald saying that Jenna has somebody in the back to talk to, so we'll send it back there, get some thoughts on that first qualifier.
Yes. The first 2-year-old qualifier in the books there. All your guys' horses minded their manners. Justin got the job done on the front end there with Supermind. You got away fourth, followed Amy. Maybe a little bumpy down the stretch, kind of had to hold them together there.
Yeah, when I asked him to accelerate down the backstretch, he did get out of gear, but he stayed at it. Good for him for doing it, because these are 2-year-olds, and he could have rolled off quite easily. He had quarter cracks that were bothering him. It's one of those rare horses that just seemed to pop them, and we've been working on them. But from time to time, they do bother him. We had bar shoes on him up front, and I think he maybe just spun off them a couple of times. You could see as he was trying to accelerate, he was getting out of gear. So he wasn't too bad when I was following Amy, but when I asked him to accelerate, that's when he struggled a bit. So we're going to have to maybe go back to the drawing board a little bit. Supermind's a really nice colt. This is a creatine colt that actually Amy picked out. And Justin went with him when we had our schooling day here. Justin had gone with that colt, so he's fairly familiar with him. And, if we didn't have Uncle Danny, who won so impressively the other day at the Meadows in 57, that colt there would likely be the one that we were heading to the next generation with. So, really nice colt. I was happy to see Amy's filly get along. Aunt Sarah's a really nice filly. This sister to the Tom horse that was Tennessee Tom, yes. So, this is a sister, and she's a really nice filly. All 4 of those horses are nice. Tyler said Emerald Tom was running out a little bit. But again, did his work and got it done, so you can't ask him to do much more than that. Now we're going out with the Pacers now. Amy's colt, actually, this is a half-brother to Poppy Rob Hanover. He's not quite as good as Poppy Rob. You're not going to mix him up. But he's okay. We have 3 in here, and I think Scotty Cox is the other one. So it should be fun. It's hot, boiling hot day, but the track's good, the horses are good, and we're 100% so far.
Okay, we'll let you go catch your mount, and we'll catch up with you after.
All good things said by Mr. Anthony McDonald there. And they did bring up a good point, because actually I was going to ask you about this. The quarter cracks, the feet issues, no foot, no horse. I know you guys had a heck of a time with Had to Know. And I know it's frustrating, like, as a groom, to think that you're doing the right thing and got them almost healed, and then boom, they're back.
Yeah, it can be frustrating. You can only do so much. You can work on the horses so much and this and that, and sometimes it's just a struggle. We have a horse in tonight. I think he's in the 15th. Neptune. He blew something out of a foot 2 starts ago. Came up sore for literally a few hours. Jogged him, blew out of his foot, away he went. He's perfect. I trained him hard the other day. He's in to go tonight. no problem.
Greatest ending too, didn't
Greatest
he?
ending when his feet go bad, it is a nightmare.
Yeah.
It just his feet are made of glass, I swear. A very similar issue to Neptune. Neptune missed 1 week. Greatest ending's probably going to miss 4.
Right, exactly. That's what I was going to kind of compare it to.
When that horse, his foot popped and away he went. And I trained Greatest Ending the other day. I told Anthony, he kind of left it up to me because he knows how this horse is. And
Yeah.
when you get messing around with him, and he'll tie up too, and we didn't want to push him. And I said, I trained him in 15 the other day, came a good quarter, but is he ready to pace 53 on Sunday?
Right.
No.
No.
Next Sunday? Yeah, he'll be ready to go. So I'm actually going to train him tomorrow and put him in the bike tomorrow and go a real good mile with him, and he should be ready to go next Sunday.
And then you almost feel bad, too, because they want to do their work, just like that last race. Anthony had to know, and he said it. You know, he did almost, lose him right there once he was trying to make him accelerate there at the end of the mile. And you just feel bad because a horse like that who wants to do their work and he just kind of gets set back, and it's not his fault.
No, he's a nice big colt. He loves his job and he likes working, so he's doing his best, and he stayed at it. He could have made a break, but he didn't. He stayed at it and did his work and finished up okay.
All right, we got 3 here in qualifier number 4. The 4th one is a Scott Cox trainee. Lather Up filly, Capistrano Knights. This is a homebred. Lather Up's really put some mix into some things. I do know when I was watching Capistrano Knights warm up, looks like he can get a little hot, and there he is right now, she's getting a little hot.
Yeah, she has her days. She kind of looks around and stuff, and she's out of the filly we had, Capistrano, that Harry Polton had for us in Canada, raced a lot, and this filly, she'll show little tendencies like that. Yeah, she'll get a little warm quickly. Yeah. Nothing will be bothering her, and then something kind of sets her off, and she'll want to go. So
was her mother like that?
Her mother, Kelly always uses the picture on the website of me sitting behind Capistrano, and I got a little bit of fear in my eyes because that was an open house in Canada, first time in the race bikes, and the bike kind of pinched her.
Oh no! And she went.
And
to
the whole time she's trying to kick.
Oh, that's the worst.
And Kelly loves using that picture of me
when
it comes to anything, but.
ACDC, if my memory serves me correct, this horse came after the sales to you guys, right?
Yeah, an owner sent him to us, and he's been coming along a little on the small side.
Yeah.
Trained good the other day. Tyler Angus is going to train him. Qualify him. He trained him, I think, a week or so ago and didn't mind him, so we'll see how he goes.
I will say, and nothing against Stay Hungry, I think he was a nice racehorse. I was a little skeptical on how he would throw his offsprings, and I've actually been quite impressed with them. I know this is probably like his 4th or 5th year, but I've actually been quite impressed. I see more that I like than I don't like. How about that?
Right, there's been some. We've only had a couple, and we had a filly who was really sore on her knees, but tried her guts out, and Anthony actually bred her Stay Special. She was a really nice mare and tried her heart out, so... The Stay Hungries, he's in Pennsylvania. That's a tough spot.
Yeah,
you got your Captain Treacherouses and Sweet Lou's, and it's a tough place to go when a place there, if you have a number 1 kind of broodmare, well, Stay Hungry's not at the top of your list. That's just kind of the way it is.
Right.
But I think he's done okay overall.
And then Perfection Hanover, the Tall Dark Stranger, brother to Pappy Rob Hanover. I'm really excited to see this guy. Almost a steal, $27,000 Harrisburg purchase.
Again, it goes back to the Tall Dark Strangers. I mean, I think the Kissing in the Sand.
72, I think.
I thought he was cheaper. I could be wrong.
62 or 70.
Okay.
One of the two. But he was. I thought he'd be 6 figures.
Yeah, he's at a Kissing in the Sand. Like, holy frig.
Yeah.
And here's a brother to Pappy Rob for $27,000. So. This is a nice colt. He's been coming along, so we'll see what Amy does with him here.
Yes, we'll see how this all shakes up. Mike Carter will tell us how it goes.
Thanks so much. The field moving through the stretch. 2-year-old pacers lining up. Here they come. Capistrano Knights is on a break. Capistrano Knights was warm before the start, and she is off stride. So it's AC/DC and Fire the Prez rolling up outside of rivals around the first turn. Perfection Hanover came away in a third, and off stride at the start was Capistrano Knight. She's back on the pacing gate, though. She's about 15 lengths off the lead as they move into the backstretch. It's Fire the Prez, the 5th racing horse out of the dam. Can Dolt Forever, the second dam produced. Stand for Something and Parker, both made over. $125,000 in their careers. Opening quarter in 31 and 2/5 seconds. Into the far turn they go. Fire the Prez, the $10,000 Buckeye Classic purchase. Up by 2 lengths over Perfection Hanover and Amy McDonald in second. That's a $27,000 Harrisburg yearling. 2-year-old colt by Tall Dark Stranger. This is the First Dam Panera Hanover. Produced Poppy Rob Hanover and Panatone Hanover. Half-top of the board, 101 and 1. Into the clubhouse turn they go. And Chris Lems and Fire the Prez lead by 3. Down at the inside second is Perfection Hanover. Off stride around the turn there is AC/DC, and Capistrano Knights is being let loose by Anthony. Into the backstretch, Fire the Prez, the 2-year-old gelding by Catch the Fire, up by 6 lengths here over Perfection Hanover. Second, 3/4, 129 and 2 as they move into the far turn. Fire the Prez, 7 clear of Perfection Hanover's in second. Capistrano Knights is third, and AC/DC is trailing as they come through the stretch and to the wire. Here is Fire the Prez, the 2-year-old gelding by Catch the Fire, bred here in Ohio by Black Magic Racing. It's going to draw off to win by about 9 in the end. Perfection Hanover was a very good second. Then came Capistrano Knights, and off stride again is AC/DC. 158 and 1. Big mile for Fire the Prez. A big mile there for Fire the Prez for trader Scotty Cox, but Perfection Hanover, Jason and Jess looked very good with Amy McDonald in the bike. Raced extremely well to finish second. Final time was 158 and 1.
Well, it wasn't a stable horse, but Fire the Prez, a nice 158 and 1 effort there for Scott Cox and company. Chris Lems, that horse looked nice.
Yeah, it looked really good. I don't know who invited Scott Cox here to qualify with us, but no, that horse looked really good.
Now, Perfection Hanover, we were just talking a bit. He's not very big, but no. he stuck along there. I thought he put up a really nice effort.
Yeah, he didn't give it right up. Lemsey went a pretty good mile on the front end, and Amy stayed, lost a little ground up the backside, but he paced hard through the wire. I was kind of watching him in particular, and he paced hard through the wire, I thought. And
that's a perfect example too of Fire the Prez has already had one qualifier under his belt. Just sat the 3-hole, qualified 2 minutes 28 and 3 at the end of it today. This is where they showed him some speed, I guess, on the front end, 58 and 1. So you kind of see that 2 dimensions in him.
Right. It looked like they kind of had their mind set up. They were going to go a decent mile today, and it looks like they have a nice little horse for a $10,000 yearling.
Yeah, unfortunately, a couple of breaks, Capistrano Knights and AC/DC. I'm sure those will get figured out.
Blame Tyler.
Hey, someone's got to get blamed. Just
That's
kidding.
Right.
But they're not the first time off the farm, but it is a first time in a race scenario where they're asked to do everything correct. Right. So it's a learning experience.
Yeah, you'll give them a pass, and we'll work on them and try to have them better for next time.
All right, qualifier number 5. There's as far as I know, there's a field of 7, and there's 5 stable horses in here. We got Royal Duchess, Judy's Money, Rose Run Bobby, He's a Fearless Peter, Enrico Tubbs. I guess we'll just start with Royal Duchess. This is a filly by Creatine. Just an $8,000 select Ohio Select purchase. How has she been?
She's been okay. She's been coming along. Hit a little bit of a rough patch here and there, but I think she'll be all right today. Real sweetheart in the barn, big favorite of everybody in the barn, and whether it's the veterinarians like Dr. Latessa or the grooms or whoever, big fan. And, he really likes her. So, it'll be interesting to see what Tyler does with her off the rail today.
All right. Curtis just told me Anthony is standing by with Jenna. We'll get his thoughts on the 3 that went in Qualifier 3.
Second baby qualifier in the books there. You had Capistrano Knights, and I noticed during post-parade she looked a little hot and then made a gate mistake there. Talk to us about that and talk us through it.
She wears a hood, but going a mile in 2.8 is not like going a mile in 2.1, 2 minutes. So we took the hood off her. She was a little warm, a little green, looking at the pylons, looking at the gate, just normal baby stuff. Going out of there, I don't really know what she did. Maybe she saw something. She just rolled off for a step. She seemed pretty strong after that, so I'm not too concerned about it. The other colt made a break on Tyler. Actually, I was saying to you, we've qualified like 34 or 36 babies. These are the first 2 that did anything wrong, and both of them are pacers. So AC/DC, nice little colt. He just maybe needs some time. We're going to kick him out in the field and let him grow up a little bit. It's not just a matter of today is great to go and get them qualified, but it's what's next is the real problem, right? And to see a colt go out and qualify in 2 minutes or 59, it's nice to see, but there's only 55, 56, 57 waiting for them. So a colt like AC/DC, probably more just likely to give him a little time. The other colt seemed good, but we warmed him up, and he was a little warm and a little strong. And I said, well, I don't want to be on the front with Capistrano Knights. I know AC/DC doesn't. I don't know how good Chris's horse is. Maybe we'll just put a cord and an air hood on Amy's horse, and he did not like the cord nor the earplug.
I think a big field coming up here. Anything to expect with these trotters?
Who do we got in here? Judy's Money's first crop, ready for money. She's been in 2-4. Rose Run Bobby, a little fractious. She can be a little warm. Rico Tubbs a nice little colt. He lost a shoe here I was putting on earlier, but he's a nice little colt. I think might be Amy's first win, actually. She's probably got the better one in here. He's a Fearless Peter's been good. All these horses have been good. They've had their times. Mine's she can be a little warm and a little fractious, so I just want her to behave herself today. I'm hoping she will.
All right, we'll catch up with you after this.
Thanks very much.
All good things from Anthony back there. I liked what he said about sometimes it's just getting them to the qualifiers and getting that mile underneath of them and then kind of just kicking them out in the field. I know I bought a Captain Crunch. He's 3 now, but we trained him down. He was a ridgeling. He had some issues, so it took a long time to get him to the qualifiers. He qualified twice. Okay, not great. He didn't great, but it was a matter of just getting him there, getting him the experience, and then I tossed him in the field for 4 months, and he's come back. Now he's grown up into himself. He's filled out into himself, and he acts like he really does want to do his work. So I feel like he makes a good point there. Sometimes that's just what they need.
Yeah, he both those Capistrano's not that big, and AC/DC, he's a little on the small side, so a little time in the field probably not going to hurt him, and kind of be ready for more of a fall-winter campaign. Like Anthony said, you're just going to go faster and faster.
Yeah, exactly. And if you turn them out now, you can bring them back in September, October, get them ready. I mean, there's plenty of late closures, early closures, whatever, a few overnight races, and then see what kind of horse you have. If it's a horse you have to move, sell, or give a couple weeks off and bring them back for the stakes season.
Yeah, there's lots of places. And if you bring them back early enough in the winter, you can still give him a break before the stakes next year.
Right,
so,
exactly. And there's lots of...
He's probably going to be that kind of colt where he doesn't want to exactly head over to the Meadows where, Highest Honors pays 54 and got beat yesterday.
Right.
So he doesn't want to head there or head to the Stallion Series or the Sire Stakes right now. So the field's probably going to be the spot for him.
And there's a couple of good little series, too, at the end of, I think it's October,
Yeah, there
November,
is. You get Knowers of 1, Knowers of 2 series and stuff. And we've had some luck with those horses that just needed a little time and weren't ready to go, kind of 1st of July.
Judy's Money, first crop ready for money. Like Anthony said, we touched on that earlier. I've seen nothing but good things from them. I was a big fan of Ready for Money, but I loved Ramona Hill. I know she beat him in the Hambletonian back in 2020, but he had a very solid campaign himself before standing set. And I think he's going to bring something nice to the state of Ohio.
Yeah, I think so. We have two, and I like them both. Lauren Harmon has one of her own. She likes her filly. I think she's going to qualify next week. But the ones I've seen I kind of like. So, and I've seen there's been some qualify even over at the Meadows and stuff. So, so far so good for the Ready for Monies.
And then Rose Run Bobby, like Anthony said, can get a little fractious.
Fractious, yeah, that's probably the word.
That was a good one. Fractious.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm going to use that.
She can be fractious.
When you see a horse get a little hot, I'm going to say fractious. Uncle Peter, you guys have had success with the Uncle Peters.
Yep.
I know the one day you guys did video and she was very fractious. Has she calmed down any?
Some days. You know, you catch her on the wrong day, and she just kind of. When we schooled her, she was kind of warm. She was pretty pumped up. So, I'm hoping, you know, with a little experience and couple more times behind the gate, she'll finally start to realize, like, okay, let's just do our work and chill out here, and we'll go from there.
That kind of, you know, brings up that point that we talked about when they see the starting gate and they're like, oh, it's time to do my work, but you don't need to go balls to the walls the first couple of times. You just need to learn.
Just go easy, Bobby.
Yeah, just go easy. And I know
relax,
Amy's been
Bobby.
a big fan of her.
Yeah, she likes Bobby.
She's worked with her
yeah,
for a lot,
she likes Bobby. Anthony's going to go here today just in case I think Bobby decides to be Bobby.
Be fractious.
Yeah, be fractious. Just be fractious.
I know that when talking with Justin, we watch the videos and kind of, you know, just see what's going on and you know, I guess just watch them train down or whatever. We were like, we really want Bobby to do well for Amy because we know how much she puts into not just Bobby, but obviously she's like, and what did Anthony call her the other day, Superwoman or something? Like she gets up, takes care of the kids, comes to the barn, there all day. There's no cutting corners with her, so it's fun to cheer and kind of look at horses like that. I guess not problem child, but a horse that needs a little extra attention.
No, and that's, you know, when we talked earlier about the getting to see them get broke and trained down and stuff. You know, the grooms too. They look after them all winter, so they like to. And I know Amy spent a lot of time with her. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
And you know, you get to see them, you know, show up and get to the track and get their first win, hopefully, and maybe win a stake race. You know, people like it.
They do, and heck, if it's a maiden, it's just it's just seeing them excel and take that next step in their career. He's a Fearless Peter. This is another son of Uncle Peter, maybe a horse that's been flying under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, I like this colt. You know, Uncle Peter. The two Uncle Peters we gelded right away, like day after the sale.
Oh, wow.
Uncle Danny and Peter, just because we kind of know how the Uncle Peters will act. So they were gelded right away, and but I like this colt. This is the one actually that was a little shy of the car, and he got the 5-hole.
Oh, so he's going to look literally directly at the starter.
So Justin maybe gapped off a hair at the start here. I wouldn't be shocked.
Don't be concerned.
He acted scared of it. He behaved. Yeah. He didn't do anything bad. He was just a little hesitant. I schooled him actually. And he didn't love seeing the starter in the car. So the 5-hole will be interesting.
I will say, that is one thing. Like, they'll go up to the gate. Back home in Michigan, my dad has a tow gate, and he'll throw them on there once in a while. They'll go up to the gate, fine here. They see that person in there, well, it's a whole new ball game.
I went up to the car in the gate. He's between the horses, everything fine, and he heard the starter talk.
Oh,
and then all of a sudden he was like, "There's a person in there.
What are you doing over there?
Yeah, what's happening?" And he was a little shy of it. So we'll see what Justin does with him here.
He was a $28,000 Ohio selected purchase. And then Rico Tubbs, this is a son of Father Patrick, $11,000 in the Lexington selected sale. Another horse who might fly under the radar a little bit.
Right. I don't mind this colt. He's a nice little colt. He can be a little snaky. And there's Peter's having a look at the car. But I like the Rico Tubbs colt. I trained him a couple weeks ago in the bike, and I liked him. $11,000 yearling. Father Patrick. They can be a little fractious.
Yeah.
As well, like the Uncle Peters or a Green Shoe or something. So, but I like this horse.
All right, qualifier number 5. Behind the Gate, Royal Duchess, Judy's Money, Rose Run Bobby. Here's a Fearless Peter, Enrico Tubbs. Yeah, it is because it's worth mentioning, too. The 4, not a stable horse. This is a filly by Enterprise. Has raced once at Paulding, made a break, and then tried to qualify and made a break as well. So hopefully for John Payne's sake and Jason Thompson, the horse minds her manners. this afternoon.
It looks like Logan Ebersol picked up the drive on number 7, Long Hill, a long Tom.
A long Tom for Levi Hirschberger. We will send it over to Mike, who will call qualifier number, is that 5 or 6? Qualifier number 5.
Thanks so much, Jess. The field moving in behind the horses behind the gate for the 5th race. A field of 2-year-old trotters, a field of 7 lining up here. They're picking up speed, and here they come. And they're off. They are trotting. Dublin's Dita first away down the center of the racetrack with Judy's Money and Royal Duchess down at the inside. Amy puts Rico Tubbs into play outside of rivals. At off stride there was Dublin's Dita. Dublin's Dina made a break in stride. So as they move into the backstretch, it is Rico Tubbs and Amy McDonald with the lead, a length and a half. At the inside, Judy's Money second, 2 clear of Royal Duchess in third. Long Hill races in fourth at this point. Rose Run Bobby is fifth. 6 towards the inside for He's a Fearless Peter. And back on the trotting gate is Dublin's Dina. They go past the opening quarter in 32 and 1/5 seconds. Into the far turn they go. Rico Tubbs is on top, a length and a half. At the inside, racing in a second is Judy's Money. Moving up next on the inside in third is Royal Duchess and Tyler Angus. Long Hill races in fourth. That one's got about 9 to make up at this point. At the inside is Rose Run Bobby. Lems is laying straight back on that one, and He's a Fearless Peter is the trailer. They're at the half in 104 and 1. Into the clubhouse turn they go. It is Rico Tubbs. The $11,000 Lexington selected purchase is up by a length and 3/4 here. Now opens up by 2. She's up here by 2.5 lengths. Racing next down towards the inside is Judy's Money. Then we come back to Royal Duchess in third. Long Hill is fourth. It's the first full out of the dam. SC Romp and Roxanne. They're at 3/4 at 134 and 4. Into the far turn they go. Rico Tubbs still the front stepper, leading by a length and a half. In the pocket second is Judy's Money. Third down towards the inside. Royal Duchess without 3 to make up. Long Hill's advancing nicely on the outside. Now Lems pops pocket on Amy. Is Rico Tubbs is the first one to turn for home. Finishing late, Royal Duchess up the inside. Outside Judy's Money. Rico Tubbs needs the line. Judy's Money denies Rico Tubbs. Royal Duchess was second, then Long Hill. In between them, Rose Run Bobby 205 and 3. Big mile here from Judy's Money, a $12,000 Buckeye. Classic purchase, 2-year-old Brown filly by Ready for Money out of the Dono Hanover mare, Rating Flowers.
Qualifier number 5 in the books, 205 and 3. I think there's lots to learn from and take out of that qualifier, Jason. One thing, obviously, we saw the breaker in the first turn from John Payne's filly, so Rico Tubbs ended up cutting it out. I thought he looked good. Judy's Money sat the pocket, running out maybe just a little bit, but you said, she'll do that. Rose Run Bobby, proud of Bobby.
Bobby behaved.
Bobby behaved. I mean, Anthony was maybe bending over backwards, but hey, she trotted and she sat in a hole.
To go those fractions,
Right.
that was very good for Bobby.
So I think that she can definitely improve off of that. She was very good, but she could definitely continue to improve off of that. And then He's the Fearless Peter ended up going off stride in that far turn. Is that something you usually see from him?
Not usually, no. I don't really know what happened there. He'll, you could see him looking at the gate, and Justin did a good job with him because he's not bad or doing anything. He's a little nervous.
He did kind of dart sideways just a little bit.
He doesn't love it. And when he got away from the gate, I figured he'd be fine.
Right.
And then made that mistake turning for home. I'm a little surprised by that.
And then Royal Duchess, I thought she had some good trot up the inside.
Yeah, Tyler looked like he was a little careful with her and got her around. She behaved and did everything right. They came a decent half, back half in 101 and 2, I believe. Yep. So, that was good overall. And
another thing, too, while I noticed it, bring up a point, you guys train a mile and a half. A lot of people go 2 trips. I know Anthony's talked about it. Sometimes he kind of worked maybe a couple of horses back into the 2 trips scenario. But you can tell your horses go 2 trips because they were still trucking it up the backside at that next quarter.
Yeah,
go a mile and a half.
We've been doing the mile and a half for a few years now. Some people do double headers, mile and a half. I find it kind of the same thing.
Right.
And the mile and a half, a lot of time you'll go your mile, and then they're still wanting to go. Now that we're going the 2 trips, even you go the mile first trip or second trip, and they're wanting to still rattle. It's like, no, we're done.
I feel like there's nothing more frustrating than watching a horse look so good and get 100 to 50 yards to the wire and then puke.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a good always make them pace or trot through the wire, and that's something I've kind of taught and embedded in Dave Little's brain. He's never was a really qualifier guy. It was always Brower and myself, but it doesn't matter what they look like near the wire. It's through the wire what you want to see.
Yeah, you'll even see, for people that watch us train and stuff, we go through the wire, through the turn. We don't pull up until the next turn.
Right.
We don't want them pulling up by the paddock and stuff. No.
The draw gates and so on. And
keep on trotting or pacing or whatever they're doing. We'll keep on rolling right through the turn past the paddock, and then when we get into the far turn, we'll start to pull them up.
All right, Jenna has Anthony for some comments on qualifier number 5.
You thought maybe that Amy could pick up her first win with Rico Tubbs there, but Lemsey sat on her back with Judy's money. I'm not sure if she got snapped or not. It was pretty close.
Yeah, she did, yeah. He's merciless, a merciless game. I told him, I said, she'll be all right. I said, maybe we can go beat up some little kids later on or something, you and I.
It was a good effort by everyone. I believe He's a Fearless Peter made a mistake at the back. Do you know what went wrong there?
I don't know. Justin told me he's a trotting guy, and then all of a sudden the horse is on the run. I don't know what to tell you.
You ever been lied to?
Yeah, I think it may just be as simple as a little application of the hobbles. You saw how green he was going up the gate. He's got a nice gait, but again, a little bit, he's got that squirrel brain mentality where, he looks at everything, he sees everything, and this is all new to them, right? They're used to new stuff, but this is another added wrinkle to their game that they're just learning. And a horse like him, am I surprised he made a break? No. I'd be surprised if he did it again with the hobbles on, though.
Rose Run Bobby was pretty good. She finished up her mile well.
Yeah, she's going to be a work in progress. She's a really, really, we've been in 2-1 with her. She's a fast filly, but it can't just be speed, right? There has to be, there's a substantial mental component to racing babies, and God love her. She's the sweetest horse in the world, but she is as dumb as a bag of bricks. I'm telling you, she is not a smart filly, but she's a very lovable horse, and I was surprised. She mildly understood what she was learning today for the millionth time. She's starting to slowly understand it, but she followed. She did her work good, and man, it's just so hot out here that has to play a role too. It plays a role with me, man. I am wiped out, and for the horses too. It's a hot morning, so I was happy with Bobby. I thought Amy was home and cooled out. I told her, you got to go to a drive. You're going to have to work on your stretch drive there if you want to get the job done here at the races.
I was going to say, should we tell Jessica and Jason how lucky they are to be in the air conditioning right now?
Oh, yeah. I think they planned it that way. They both know. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
So we'll take this one off and come back in the 7th, I believe, with a full field.
Yeah, our last crew. Who's in here, by the way? For our last crew, that's not ours. Yeah, we got Megan's Lucky Day. She can be a little fractious, but Tyler gets along well with her. She's been training very well. J. Fotag has not, but we're hoping that she turns it around today. She's a big, strong, good-looking filly. Pretty Eyes and Lies, this is Amy's filly. We bred this filly, but the mother was kind of a pet of Amy's too, and kind of meant a little bit to us, so we're hopeful she does well. She qualified well. She's already qualified once. She qualified at the Meadows last week. Steph's Hope, nice filly. I noticed that she had some goop in her eyes today. She ate everything and didn't have a temperature, so she's going. And Jolene Hall, actually there's going to be some driver changes in here. Lauren Harmon is going to go with Steph's Hope. She rarely goes with babies, but we coaxed her. I think when she saw Amy on the baby, she's like, all right, fine, I'll go. But Steph's Hope, Lauren's going to go with. I'm going to go with Jolene Hall. Justin, Amy are going to stay the same. Everything else is going to stay the same. So Lauren on the 5 and I'm on the 6.
All right, we'll be back after the 7th to get a word from you.
Good comments there by Anthony. He said that Rosamund Bobby not the smartest, but she learned. That was a step in the right direction. And I hope Jenna's listening, because I asked her about 700 times if she wanted to sit in here or be back there, and she told me she didn't care. So that's her own fault.
She quit on me. We did the open house in the wintertime, and she quit.
Yeah. How dare her?
I don't know.
How dare her?
Will you congratulate for her birthday? No.
Happy.
Happy belated birthday to Jenna. On Friday, she turned 19 years old. 2 more years, she can have an alcoholic beverage.
Yeah.
And unless she goes to Canada.
Right.
You know, we are Ontario and have a drink. Yeah, you can go to Canada and have a drink, but 2 more years to go.
They hired a singing telegraph. Telegraph? Is that what those are called? Telegrams? Grams? Whatever. Some guy came in, broke in on the set, and started singing Happy Birthday. And he said something about living to 100 years old. And she said, well, I'm a quarter of the way there. And he goes, you look 19. You look 19. It was funny. I'll have to show you the video. But kudos to Jason Roth. Real quick, we don't have any in this one, but I've heard so many good things about the first crop. Summa Cum Laude, of course. He dead heated in the 2-year-old pace. Breeder's Crown with perfect sting. Justin has the Summa Cum Laude filly. We had issues with her tying up. Kicked her out in the field for a couple weeks. She's come back. She's good. There's a Summa Cum Laude in here from Post 3. You guys have one. Just got beat yesterday, but I mean, Ronnie Burke said he's got 10. He loves 9 of them.
Right. I haven't heard anything bad. Everybody you talk to trainers around the track and stuff. You know, guys like Scott Cox and stuff, and we'll talk to different trainers when I go to Sauda and that. And do you have any Summa Cum Laudes? That seems to be the name that pops up all the time. Do you have any Summa Cum Laudes? And they seem to be very popular. So we'll see what happens here in the next month or so.
I'm excited. It's there's still enough time that you're patiently waiting, but not but it's coming close to crunch time. The 2 ultimate catches to catch the fire for Scott Cox. We saw him qualify catch the fire earlier on. This will be the 2nd qualifier for this one, but we'll sit back and watch while Mike Carter has the call.
Thanks so much, Jessica. The field moving around the turn to the top of the stretch, all set for race number 6. Two-year-old Pacers lined up, field of 3. Here they come. And they're off. They are pacing Brayton and Fair Maiden. First away down the center of the racetrack. Ultimate Catch came away in second with Hollywood Smile third around the first turn. The compact trio head into the turn together. And up on the outside, Ultimate Catch up to engage Fair Maiden for the lead. Racing in third is Hollywood Smile is the trailer. Into the backstretch they go. It's Ultimate Catch up top, a length and a quarter over Fair Maiden, who's second. 6 clear of Hollywood Smile in third. They race to the opening quarter, and it's there in 31 and 1/5 seconds. Into the far turn they go. And up top, Ultimate Catch, 2-year-old gelding by Catch the Fire, the $34,000 Buckeye Classic purchase is up here by a length and a quarter over Fair Maiden, who is racing in the pocket in a second. Hollywood Smile is third for Cody Massey as they come down here to the half. And on the lead is Ultimate Catch, and Chris Lems up by 2 over Fair Maiden. The homebred filly by Summa Cum Laude is second. Half top of the board, 102 and 1 as they head into the clubhouse turn. We're going to find out what the Summa Cum Laude filly has here. She's racing very well from in second. Now it's time to show what she's got. Hollywood Smile is third, but as they head into the backstretch, it's Ultimate Catch who kicks clear, opens up a 4-length lead at the inside. Fair Maiden is second, and Hollywood Smile is third as they head to 3/4, and they're there in 131 flat. Into the far turn they go. Ultimate Catch still the leader, leading by 7 or 8 lengths. Fair Maiden is all out from in second. She looks really good here on the racetrack. Down at the inside, Hollywood Smile is third, but Ultimate Catch, it's the boy against the girls, is up by about 12 lengths as that one paces through the stretch. Ultimate Catch, the 2-year-old gelding by Catch the Fire, wins by 12. Fair Maiden, a game try in a second, and Hollywood Smile third in 150, 9 and 4.
As we're gonna be.
A nice qualifier, excuse me, there by another Scott Cox trainee, like we'd mentioned, had already had one qualifier, lowered his lifetime mark. Good qualifying effort there. The last qualifier is on deck. We have a field of 6. Megan's Lucky Day, Joe J. Fotag, or Fote, I'm not quite sure. Pretty Eyes and Lies, Steph's Hope, and Jolene Hall. I'm the last person you want to ask how to pronounce something.
I think we say Fotag, so
Okay.
I think that's.
We'll just go with that then.
We'll go with Joe J. Fotag.
We'll just continue to roll on like that. Megan's Lucky Day. This is a filly by Uncle Peter, a $40,000 Ohio selected yearling purchase. I was just kind of looking at a couple of her siblings. Katie's Lucky Day. She was the Kentucky Futurity winner, upsetting the great mare Bella Bellini by a half an eyelash. Yanks Dugout. That horse is a hard knocking hitter at Yonkers, Meadowlands, Chester, wherever you kind of throw them. For, I think, Duke Sugg, Ron Burke train. So, nice family that Megan's Lucky Day comes up with.
Yeah, nice filly. Has a lot of speed. She can, well, it's the word of the day is fractious. She can be a hair fractious herself, but she has talent. So, hopefully she can get around and behave herself today. Tyler Angus will drive. He goes with her a lot, so he knows her well.
Kind of you say he goes with her a lot. Sometimes you see, maybe not so much here, but maybe a little bit. Manny Miller was driving a couple for Bieber the other night. You see maybe Yoser driving for Nancy, Anibal driving for Tony. Some people always dismiss that. I actually like that because you know their work with the horses all the time. They know their quirks. Sometimes to throw a catch driver up, they don't. I mean, not that they don't know by any means.
Right.
I mean, guy, you put Dexter Dunn, David Miller, any of those guys on them, they're going to know what to do. But they really know how to, almost work out those quirks.
Right. I mean, the top 10 drivers are the same every year for a reason. Usually, they're they're the best guys
Right,
around.
right.
Your Dexter, your Davids, Timmy, Yannick, everybody. But when you see, you'll see, especially early in the year, like a Yoser go with one of Nancy's and
Right.
stuff like that, and just kind of first couple starts and getting them
1-800
along.
comes to
And
mind.
yeah, exactly. Just getting everybody around and making sure everybody behaves, and you'll see that a lot with these guys. And it's kind of something to watch if you are a handicapper or something, because they're not down to drive necessarily because they're a bad horse or anything.
Right.
They just might be a little tricky and know them better.
Like the full sister to Carl, it might be
Yeah.
Annie. Yosert's gone with her because Nancy says that she's fast and she gives her great hairs. If she doesn't want to go to the track, do not force her, Nancy says, because but it kind of just piggybacks off that. They
Right.
know the horse, they know their quirks, rather than putting a guy up and maybe trying to go against their quirks and making
Right.
them do something you don't want. Joe J. Fotag, this is a filly, a daughter of Volstead, who's had some good success the last couple of years.
Yeah, there's been some decent Volsteads. This is a homebred, I believe, that was sent to us. We had her brother, Sweeney, and another one out of the mare. I can't think right now.
Dixie Road?
No. Kathy with an eye.
Okay.
Excuse me, sorry. We had Kathy with an eye and Sweeney. So this is Joe J. Fotag, big filly, big, strong, good-looking filly. Justin Irvine will steer.
Pretty Eyes and Lies, another homebred. We talked about this. This already has a qualifier. She's already been qualified. This is a daughter of International Money. I love the saying that Anthony says. I used it a couple of weeks ago and somebody laughs at me. The meat and potatoes kind of horse, and that's what International Money's kind of been for you guys.
Yeah, we've had a couple. They've been okay, and a breed I don't think is super popular. They can be fractious. They can be fractious. The International Money's a little tough to work with sometimes, but this filly, Amy's put a lot of work into her. She goes with her a lot. She looks after her. So, she's probably pretty excited to drive her.
And like you said, she liked her mother, too.
Yeah.
Eyes of 10. And then we have Steph's Hope. Lauren's going to go with Steph's Hope. This is a filly by What the Hill. Thanks for that change, Mike Carter. I was paying attention, so I got it.
We're on the ball.
We got it. We're on the ball.
We got a full-time professional and a twice a year. You know what we're doing.
Filly by What the Hill. Anthony alluded to it. Lauren trains her own horses, goes with her own horses, drives amateur races. She drives with the big top guns for Krista and Donnie as well. She doesn't go with a whole lot of your guys' babies, but she does a lot of barn work, so that's understandable.
Yeah.
She's going to sit behind Steph's Hope.
Yeah, she got called into action here with Chris Lem's booking off for Scott Cox, so she's going to go with Steph's Hope. I trained her the other day. She trained okay. She does nothing wrong. She's a What the Hill. She's trained down well, so she tried super the other day, so we'll see how Lauren gets along with Steph's Hope.
And then Anthony will drive Jolene Hall. This is the filly from the first crop, Ready for Money. $16,000 Lexington Selected yearling purchase. I think Anthony said they both don't do anything wrong, but he really wants to get a good feel for Jolene Hall, so that's why he kind of moved things around there.
Yeah, Jolene, I trained her a lot in the winter. She doesn't love being on the front or being first over. She'll do her work and follow all day long if she's on the rail or following a horse. You kind of got to trick her into doing her work a little bit, but she has talent. She has some go.
He was alluding to that the other day in one of his videos, how he kind of raced Uncle Danny and Diosa Della Danza two completely different ways. Uncle Danny's, kind of good at just about everything, I guess you could phrase it as, and Diosa Della Danza really needed to learn how to sit and race at the end of it. So it's almost the same for these qualifying efforts and training miles too. You don't want them to get too good at just one thing because, like we said earlier, they need to be handy when they come into races when the big money's on the line. You don't want to have just a one-dimensional horse. My horse has got to be on the front. Horse has got to be second over. You got to put him in a couple of different scenarios to continue to move forward.
Right. We've had Danny in a bunch of different spots,
right.
And that Danny is, for a horse with one lifetime start,
He's been my favorite.
So versatile. When he gate school, he was so good, and I came back and went with him the next week. And I just sat in. I sat at the back and sat last and went right up the inside. And he'll do whatever you want. He acts like a racehorse for a 2-year-old with one start in June. You can do anything you want with him.
That's nice. Sometimes
big advantage.
We talked about the what's between the ears, and the faster they mature there, I feel like the longevity they'll have.
Right, for sure. He's easy on himself, and he does everything. He just does everything really nice. He's just a really nice colt, and he got to show it the other day.
being easy on themselves too. Do you have any hard keepers? I know sometimes they get a little hard on themselves, I guess. I mean, you know, sometimes you get a filly that just never wants to relax or something along those lines.
Yeah, that can be tricky when you get one that won't relax and stuff. You know, your Rose Run Bobby, she's pretty good in the barn.
Yeah.
But when she gets to the racetrack, she wants to go. It's all business.
What's their day going to look like after this? Obviously, they warmed up. They went up to the paddock. They're on the track. What happens after this?
Everybody will put them away. You know, they'll clean all their harness and everything, and put the horses away, and you know, poultice them up and everything, and then we're going to jog them all tomorrow and see how everybody came out of it.
See how everybody came out of it. It's always important too. I know a lot of people like to give their horses the day off after big miles. Maybe in the winter time when it's like -20, but I think it's always important to kind of see how they do come out of it, because you don't want to miss anything, especially at this stage. It's and Anthony's alluded to this a lot too. You don't realize how crucial missing just 1 week of training is at this part of their career.
Yeah, it's tough. That's why, you know, it's a big advantage being here in the wintertime. You get, you know, I don't think we miss many days here training, you know, maybe for a bitter cold day or something, but you don't miss a lot of days here, so it's a big help.
Megan's lucky day, Joe J. Fotag, Pretty Eyes and Lies, Steph's Hope, and Jolene Hall will round out the qualifying action here for the Stables Open House. Mike Carter will call the qualifier number 7.
Thanks, Jess. The field moving into line. A field of 6, including Tom Largo, the Scott Cox trainee, the Dam Smith Hall produced Cowboy Country, and Esticio, both earners of over $150,000. The second dam has only one racing horse. Picking up speed for race number 7. Here they come. And they're off. They are trotting. Joe J. Fotag first away for Justin. Jolene Hall moves up on the outside for Anthony as they head into the first turn. Steph's Hope and Lauren Harmon came away cleanly there too. Tom Largo came away 4th, a length and a half in front of Pretty Eyes and Lies. And the trailer on a break is Megan's Lucky Day. Megan's Lucky Day is on a break. Into the backstretch they go. First up at driving for Jolene Hall and Anthony McDonald as they get down to the quarter in 31 1/5 seconds. Into the far turn they go. Up top, it is Jolene Hall who has the lead over Joe J. Fotag, who is in second. 2 back to Steph's Hope in the third. Tom Largo is 4th at this point as they come down in front of the stands. And still on the lead is Jolene Hall and Anthony McDonald by a length and a half over Joe J. Fotag, who's in second. It's a length and 3/4 to Steph's Hope in the third. Tom Largo is 4th with Pretty Eyes and Lies. They're off a half of 102 flat. Into the clubhouse turn they go. And with the lead, it's Jolene Hall. Jolene Hall's up by 2.5 over Joe J. Fotag, who's in second. First up and driving now. Here comes the Scott Cox trainee, Tom Largo. Down at the inside, Pretty Eyes and Lies. Anthony loose on the lead here with Jolene Hall, who leads by 3 lengths. But Tom Largo is absolutely picking him up and laying them down here. Here's Tom Largo up to engage. Jolene Hall for the lead, 132-3. And now these two will slug it out around the far turn. Jolene Hall, let's see what she's got. Tom Largo's on the outside. Off stride is Pretty Eyes and Lies. 1/8 of a mile left to trot, and they turn for home. Jolene Hall has the lead. Up on the outside is Tom Largo through the stretch and to the wire. It is Jolene Hall with the lead. Tom Largo still coming on the outside. Jolene Hall to win it. Tom Largo was game in defeat in second. Then came Steph's Hope and Joe J. Fotag, 202-4.
The final qualifier is in the books for the Stable Open House. Another one where I think we can learn plenty from. Joj Photag left nicely off of the gate there. Jolene Hall made her way to the front. And then you said, she doesn't necessarily love the front. She took off again when that horse got up to her wheel or outside Tom Largo for Scott Cox. She took off again this stretch.
Yeah, when Lemsey came to her, she took off. She doesn't love the front, so she was on the front. But either way, she doesn't. She kind of lets up in the turn a little bit, and when Lems came, she dove right in and kept going. There might have been a pylon inquiry. I'm not sure. I'm glad he beat him because Scott Cox is here stealing our thunder today.
I wonder if Anthony knows it's 100 per pylon.
It should be at minimum.
Megan's Lucky Day, unfortunately, went off stride. I thought Pretty Eyes and Lies looked good, too, until she rolled off stride in the far turn.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened in there. She was following right along, and she was following Lems, I believe, and then she made a break.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Good effort by Jolene Hall, and then Joj Photag just come up a little short, I guess, with a 2-2 and 4 effort. That was the time of the mile. Mm-hmm. What were your take from her?
Yeah, I mean, I like the way she left the gate, that's for sure. She looked really sharp, and, she was out in the field a couple weeks ago for I think 8 days or 9 days, so she probably just needs another qualifier or two to really get dialed in.
Like we said right before they went to the gate, it's tough to miss. Maybe if they're, jogging every day, but tough to miss those time, training at this stage because being so close to putting in those bigger miles.
Right, yeah. She just needed a little bit of a break. She's a big, strong, good-looking filly, and she just maybe too big. But, she stayed at it today and did her work.
That's one thing, too. Big horses, you got her qualified. If she doesn't by chance, make a whole ton of money in the next couple, whatever, starts or whatever, toss them out and bring them back. So
for sure, yeah.
Maybe when you'd want to hold over. I think Curtis in my ear just said that Jenna has somebody in the back. I don't know who it is, so we'll send it back there. She doesn't by chance, 4 times.
Ready, go. Yeah, he must have broken equipment.
Final qualifier in the book there. You cut the mile there after the quarter. You made your way to the front end, 2:02 and 4, but you looked like you were pretty wrapped up.
Yeah, she's a very green filly, very nice filly. Another filly I didn't get to go a whole lot with, but I know on the front end she looks like if Chris doesn't come down the backstretch, who knows what she does. She went back to paddock. She's just very green and very stupid, but she's got a big engine in her. Like we got to the lane, there was no concern that she wasn't going to trot away from him. She likes her work, and actually I looked down going to the gate, and she had lost a shoe going up to the gate. Well, I mean, at that point, it's too late. That's a her problem, not a me problem at that point.
Was that the shoe you tacked on?
No, that was another horse, but thank you, Jenna. That one stayed on. No, I think when we went out in the track, something spooked her, and she shied away, and I heard her grab it. It didn't dawn on me that she had ripped it off, but going to the gate, I looked down, and she was missing a flip-flop up front, but it didn't seem to bother her any, so maybe we can get those flip-flops off her, I guess, moving forward. She was good. I know somebody said Megan had pulled up. She must have broken equipment. They said she was acting up. She's been training well, so I'm a little surprised to hear that. But I haven't talked to Tyler yet about what might have happened with her. What happened with, come here, what happened with your filly?
She's just a little green. I was second over on the last turn, and she kind of decided maybe she should turn right instead of keep going left. So I just suggested maybe we could. She's worn it open for 2 months now.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe when we're going behind the gate for a race, maybe we'll throw a closed on her.
Yeah, we'll probably put something else on her. I mean, I qualified her with an open last week. She was fine, but no, it's all right. But she's just, you got to understand too. It's this heat does play a role. You can feel the horses start to wilt a little bit more, and as I said, I'm just sweating buckets here. So it was a good day. We're optimistic. I was happy with Jolene. I was happy that Lauren's filly stayed at it. Amy's filly's already qualified. I know it doesn't show a line, but she's already qualified to race in stakes, so she'll be fine. I think her first one will be a Stallion Series. She may, I don't know the rules in Pennsylvania. I know here, if you make a break off a qualifier, you have to qualify, like in an overnight. But in Pennsylvania, I don't know whether if you make a break in a qualifier with a flat line, whether you still have to qualify or not. I'm not sure. If that's the case, then we'll just re-qualify her. But she will have a flat line in 45 days heading into the Stallion Series for sure. She's a sweet filly, but, with the track, it does break away easy here. I don't want to make excuses for the horses, but trust me, there are more than enough excuses for every single horse that made a mistake here today. And happy with the ones we've qualified, super excited about the ones that have already gone. And you know, every year I look back on what is and what was, and you know, it's fresh in your mind. But man, it seems like we got a really talented group of horses this year. The filly heading to New Jersey, Uncle Danny, the horses in Kentucky on Monday, and for all our clients, I just got a text too earlier on that Oak Grove has moved their post time till 9 a.m. tomorrow. So unless I have a parachute in my flight, I guess I'm going to have to change my flight to see if I can get there earlier tomorrow. But I don't blame them. It's going to be scorching hot there tomorrow too. So good on them for doing that, but a little inconvenient for me getting there. But I'll see what I can do.
Should we interview Tyler? Oh, he just ran in there.
Yeah, Tyler, he's a young kid. Gets a little hot sometimes. So I was planning on teasing him. Maybe we'll wait. Maybe we'll wait till after. Justin was pretty proud of himself that he got Joe J around, but I still want that video from the glasses that he was wearing.
Oh,
if you don't mind.
I didn't see anything, but he was yelling, and he said he might fall out of the bike or something.
I told him I just wanted to get her qualified, and it was a running joke because that filly, she peed on Jason last week. She was in heat, and there was a small voice in my head hoping she was still a little bit in heat and get Justin today, but no such luck.
Amy, it was your first qualifying day sitting behind him. How'd it go?
Actually, it went a lot better than I was expecting, to be honest. It really just felt like we were out there training. I think it was a little controlled because most of the horses were ours, and I was training with people I always train with. But yeah, obviously I was nervous for the first day, but I don't know. I kind of settled down when I got out there, and it was just business as usual. It felt kind of the same.
Don't let him give you any hard times. I heard him over there.
Work on a stretch drive.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
Well, I think we're going to wrap it up unless I'm sending it upstairs to Jessica and Jason, who've been enjoying the air conditioning all day,
I'm sure they are,
by the way.
Yeah, it's good. I only had one stroke, so we're good.
Yeah.
Alrighty, all good things by Anthony and Amy. Excited to see what the glasses. I don't know what race those Justin wore those in, but those Meta glasses. Jessica Hallett put it on someone, and then I feel like now everyone has them. But I think it's great exposure. It's a really good video footage, and you can hear really well in them too. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, they've been really cool. I think the Braxton Boyd North American Cup ones were a big hit. Yeah, that was great. I watched the whole 16 minutes or whatever it was. It was great. Definitely gives you a different view. Even I watched the ones from Saratoga and stuff. And no, anything you can do to maybe something a little different or bring some new eyes, I think it's fantastic.
Overall today, I guess if you would maybe have to put a grade on it, or 1 through 10, how did you think it went?
I'll do an A-.
Okay.
Yeah, you know. A lot of the really nice ones qualified at the Meadows in the last couple weeks. So, but we saw some nice ones here today too. So, a little work to be done with a few of them still. And, you know,
as
horses,
expected.
Yeah, you know, they're not already bang. You know, middle of June. So, overall, I thought it was a very good day. A couple little mistakes, but things went well.
I thought so too. Lots to learn from, and we're going to see these horses pop up and qualify probably again.
Yeah, a lot of them will probably qualify again just because we can't maybe find a start for them or that. So we'll try to get as many to race as we can in to go, and yeah, might have to come back and do some qualifiers with a few of them till you get into the Buckeyes and stuff, and you can race multiple in a day. So that'll help. That will
definitely help. It's probably pretty busy in the back right now. Lots of moving parts, trainers, riders, grooms. A lot has to go on behind the scenes for this to happen.
I got to take off at 10:15 to come up here, so that made my job easier. But you know, just a great job by everybody in the back. You know, the trainers, the riders, the grooms. It's a lot goes into these days, so you know, pretty happy with everybody.
And we're glad Curtis and Jamie could make it from the Bahamas.
Grace us
with
their
presence.
Yeah, that was nice of Curtis to come.
Maybe one last question, and this might throw you off guard, but is there just maybe 1-2 horses that you're really looking forward to this season?
Overall?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to get to race her, but obviously Perfect Thoughts qualifier the other day was pretty nice. I got to train her only a handful of times probably, but I was always very impressed with her. Very nice filly. Just a really nice filly. That qualifier the other day was something.
I mean, it was torrential downpour, wasn't it?
I think it just kind of started to rain during the mile. The thing that I think is impressive is she did it by herself.
Right, and I think Anthony said he didn't realize he was even going that fast, which is always kind of a good thing. Like,
and she's a real sweetheart. She's a very nice filly, so excited to see what she'll do out at the Meadowlands. And
on the big track.
Yeah, get her on the big track. She might do some damage. So the Perfect Things look really good out there too. The ones I've seen qualify. You know, nothing's a gimme in any jurisdiction.
No.
I mean, Ohio's getting so tough. Pennsylvania is very tough, New Jersey, everywhere. There's no easy racing anywhere.
No.
So, but I'm pretty excited to see her, and closer to home, Ohio, Uncle Danny.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that.
Yeah.
From day one, he just kind of had that look, that effort, to him.
Just everything about him. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, and he'll be slated for the next generation, I
Yeah,
assume?
he's heading to the next generation.
And is he going to have one more start before that?
I don't know if he'll get in Thursday or Friday or not,
Okay.
but if not, probably a good training mile or maybe a schooler even. And,
Yeah.
And he'll head to the next gen on July 5th.
July 5th. That's
We could
also
ask the birthday girl, happy 19th.
Meadowlands Pace
She's
Elimination.
the Scioto.
Yeah.
Miss Scioto.
Miss Scioto. Glad that she can make it up. We actually have to head to Scioto tomorrow morning to cover the baby races there.
Nice.
So it was fun to work with you.
Yeah,
Learned
it's
a
great.
lot. I'm looking forward to seeing how the rest of these horses shape up throughout the season. Still lots to come. I think that now you said maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 horses that have yet to make it to the qualifiers, which is pretty good.
Yeah, there's a couple just a little bit behind, but they'll probably show up in the next few weeks or next month, and it's going to get busy.
It's going to get busy. The summer's here, the hot weather's here,
Yes.
the babies are upon us, and so looking forward to seeing them throughout their stake season. Thanks for joining us this morning for the open house breakfast with the horses, and good luck if you own any of these horses.